Michelle Duncan used to come here all the time with her husband, Jeff.
This was our fire pit.
They'd park the trailer, hang out with the dogs, and just soak it all in.
Come on.
This is her first time back by herself.
It's very, very special out here. This is like a second home. It's comforting.
If someone had never met Jeff, how would you describe him? Tell me about him.
He was the most kind and compassionate guy you'd ever meet. If you called, he was there. He's always helping you out. He was my rock. And then all of a sudden I had to become his.
The story of what happened to Jeff Duncan is a hidden one. Jeff was a prison guard at the Red Deer Remand Center, a jail where people who can't make bail wait for trial. As a society, we now know how hard it is to be a frontline worker. We hear the stories of firefighters, EMS, and police officers who've been psychologically wounded on the job. But what about prison guards? In a study on Corrections Canada's own website, 17% met the criteria for PTSD. Another study estimates it's 25%. That's higher than the level found in Vietnam veterans wounded in battle. And yet prison guards live in the shadows. Their stories hidden by the very walls and bars that surround them every day.
What did he think of his job?
He loved it. And he'd tell me about people that he thought he was getting through to and really making a difference with until the incident.
September 2013. It had been a rough week in the jail. Thursday, a stabbing. Friday, an inmate smashes a chair against the control center. Saturday night, Jeff, already on edge, sees a man hanging in his cell. The other inmates just standing around watching.
He could see him hanging with the bed sheet. You could see it stuck in the door, and he could see the body hanging. So he went running down there and had to hit the door and have it cycle 4 times before he was able to get it to unjam and open. The guy fell off and fell down and ran to the back of the cell and came at Jeff and started attacking them. And there's other inmates out cheering this guy on.
On your own, surrounded by inmates. The cheers get louder when Jeff is attacked with a chair. Is a knife next? Imagine this is your workplace.
Do you think he could have died?
Absolutely.
When Jeff Duncan got home, he sat in his chair and cried for days.
He had nightmares. It was horrible. He'd wake up screaming in the night. If I came up behind him and scared him, he would turn and try and punch me. It got to the point where he couldn't even go to the grocery store. We were in Sobeys, and one of the cashiers touched him to move him out of the way, and he totally turned around and he was ready to drop her. And he came home and he threw up for an hour.
And Jeff Duncan is just one case. Almost every prison guard will experience some kind of traumatic event during a career, and most more than one. Things like assaults or suicides or murders. And the thing is, most never get help. One prison guard is trying to change that.
I basically went to the pressure cooker for 8 or 16 hours a day. And then when I got home, I wanted to do nothing because I was just trying to decompress from that amount of time. Right? And then the cycle just would repeat itself and repeat itself and repeat itself. And then, it takes its toll. Okay.
In a way, J.P. Funeff has only just got out of prison himself.
Good girl.
He worked for 6 years inside federal penitentiaries. Now just taking Jenga to the park is a huge victory.
Let's go play. Come on. This has kind of come to symbolize to me that there is a future. I can do things. I can get out in public. I can enjoy nature, and my dog gets me out all the time. So it's helped me a lot. Yes, good girl.
Diagnosed with PTSD, for much of the last year, JP never left the house.
over. I'm glad I didn't get my face and neck slashed. And then
He says the stress of being a guard, it began the first week on the job and never let up.
I've watched, a colleague return to work from getting her face and neck slashed by an inmate. I've responded to I don't know what the proper term for TV, but it's shit bombing, which is where the inmate comes out with the cup of feces and urine and then throws it, and it just covers the whole wall and the officers there. And like literally where you're running in and everyone's yelling to slow down because it's slippery because of all the feces everywhere, right? And they're covered, it's dripping out of their mouth, and that's normal. And that's where my brain just it just went sideways for me, because that's not normal.
One evening, JP was in the command center, safely behind plexiglass at Kent Institution, a maximum security prison in British Columbia. The inmates filed past him to the gym. A moment later, they were attacking each other with makeshift knives. An inmate was murdered, but JP couldn't leave his post.
When my colleague came out covered in blood, I couldn't help him. People are stabbing and killing each other, and I'm stuck in the middle of it, and there's nothing I can do to stop it. I've been in the military. Prior to corrections, I've been I was a paramedic for over 10 years. I've seen a lot of stuff and a lot of human interaction and violence and just different things. But this was just so unreal. It just erupted into complete and utter chaos.
After that, JP hit rock bottom. He even had a plan to kill himself by driving off a cliff.
I just got lucky because I, for whatever the reason, chickened out, didn't have the ball, whatever you want to call it. I woke up the next day above the ground. And so that was kind of the turning point for me, because it was like, something's got to freaking change.
What changed in the end was JP himself. He started to talk about what he'd been through, even though he says his employer warned him not to.
Like a manager in my correctional service told me to suck it up and be a man, that I should be able to just shake it off. I've had other people that have said to me, well, what else did you expect? That's what you signed up for. I didn't sign up to have feces thrown in my mouth. I didn't sign up to helplessly watch people get stabbed and die. I definitely didn't sign up to have a psychological injury that's going to potentially either allow me or create the environment where I'm going to kill myself, all because people are too afraid to have the conversation. How do we treat those people after those events? That's what we need to figure out.
JP still has nightmares. He has good days and bad days.
Happy dog.
And yet, he's actually pretty lucky. Jeff Duncan, his story had a different ending. This past spring, I spoke with Jeff Duncan on the phone. I've been trying to get prison guards to open up to me for a long time, but most of them are worried about their jobs and won't talk. Jeff wanted his story told. He explained what he was going through and how his job had changed him.
And he told me I have to make friends with the new me, and I don't like the new me.
He was an asshole. He was abusive. Yeah, he had changed a lot. We couldn't do the things that we had done. Nothing brought him happiness.
One Sunday this spring, Jeff Duncan took his own life. He's one of 8 correctional officers who've committed suicide across Canada in the last year.
I sit in his chair every night and just stare at him, I guess.
What do you think about?
That I wish he was strong enough to have stayed and fought this battle.
The last thing Jeff did was scribble this note on a whiteboard in the garage.
We are all dealt a hand of cards. Not all hands are winners. Some people don't know the game, and some, well, the stakes get too high and fold. last play. I hope that his death's not in vain. I want things to change. I want to be able to honor him.
There's something that Jeff Duncan said to me when we spoke on the phone in the spring that stuck with me. He said, "People don't want to know what goes on inside our prisons. It seems like it might be time we took a closer look." Nick Purdon, CBC News near Sylvan Lake, Alberta.